The future of agriculture is not input intensive, but knowledge intensive. We need the integrated approach that agroecology offers us. Jose Grazano da Silva, FAO Director General. Society is already experiencing high levels of water contamination in nitrates from the use of fertilizers and the presence of pesticides and herbicides in the water. And this is what we have demonstrated with field tests. We have gone with people to sample streams, to sample rivers, and we have seen this high presence. This has called for reflection because it is also having an impact on people's public health. There are several diseases that originate from this. In recent years, we've become more aware of the implications of climate change in terms of climate variability and the vulnerability that certain populations may have. Although vulnerability is for the entire planet, but for the poorest communities are those that will suffer the greatest incidents and the greatest repercussions in terms of climate variability processes. More rains affecting their crops, more rains today affecting their homes, but also drought intensity processes as they will be the most vulnerable. Globally, the human population continues to grow and the pressure to strengthen food security is also increasing. Given the need to create new strategies for sustainable agriculture, agroecology emerges as a key to recovering ancestral ways of producing cleaner food and resilient agricultural production. Although it is not a new concept today, thanks to the exchange of knowledge, agroecology is gaining global interest, strengthening small producers and achieving great advances in social, economic, and environmental development. My name is Irvin David Diaz Reyes. I am a small producer here in the area. I also have the opportunity to work here in Zamorano, in the Santa Ines agroecological farm. It is a privilege to be here. Our heritage is always to work in the fields. The teaching mainly comes from our parents, from our grandparents. How we can work our land with our hands, not using chemicals. We used to burn our land, our bush, but we didn't know the damage we are doing to our plots of land. Some producers in the area have changed a lot. There is already an achievement in not burning. It is an achievement in not burning, and people are already burning the corn cane waste, the bean stubble. They are not burning it anymore. They are using it as fertilizer. They are using chopped corn stover. They are leaving it there to improve humidity. Both producers and consumers are beginning to see different alternatives in terms of production and consumption. Bringing the production chain closer to the producer and the consumer is one of the most important aspects of agroecology as a movement. Instead of there being so many intermediaries in the supply chain, so that one as a consumer can get closer to the producer and have differentiated products in terms of the production system. Well, here we are cleaning a mandala system. We have beans, sweet potato, corn, and so we can see the diversity that we can plant crops in a single plot, in a single mandala technique, that in the center of the plot we can have fish, shrimp, if we have the facility to get. The idea we focus on is how to have our product close to our home, and so we also implement the part of the double dug bed, where we integrate organic matter, enough compost so that the soil is softer for the product that we can plant here. And so we can say that we will have a good product that is very healthy for our families, for our children. We are going to put a layer of MOHS for moisture retention in the bed itself. We can also use it for weed control. We basically have production systems with basic grains, corn, beans, sorghum and wheat. Also for animal grazing, with soil cover and with practices that ensure the conservation of moisture. We also mix trees and agroforestry and silvipastoral systems, which allows us to have trees in the middle of the productive system. We have measured and have proven in field practices, conventional systems without cover versus a system that we are promoting in agroecology, which are these resilient systems. Last year, we measured a difference of up to 8 degrees of temperature in the first 5 centimeters of soil in an unprotected crop, a resilient crop that we call which only has living protection in the soil. A MOHS cover or stubble in the soil incorporated. And in terms of water, we have measured in the dry season, when it does not rain, 2 millimeters of a difference. We are talking about 20 cubic meters of water, or 20,000 liters per hectare, that we conserve water. You put it here, bend down. My son passes behind me. He wants to learn many things. Children want to learn what you do. If he sees that I'm doing something right. How does he work the land? How can we eat better and healthier? He will grasp that. As he grows, he will have more knowledge. But I feel very good that he is following in my footsteps. It is important because the way he learns how we can keep the lagoon clean, fence off the lagoon so that the fish don't get dirty. And hopefully he will also like this as much as I like it, and teach him what is best for my son. My name is Luis Etienne Arata Arroyo. I am from Costa Rica in the province of Guanacaste. I'm a second-year student, and the truth is that the Zamorano experience has been very rewarding because it teaches us the other side of the coin, right? Producing is not easy, and even more so now as it is in these times. Well, the truth is, leaving one's home is difficult. The experience of the first months is that one feels sad, but one begins to meet people, meet other countries, different cultures. Then one begins to make friends, to create a family. It is there where the experience becomes very, very good, the truth. The infrastructure where one lives with other people, the activities that one does here are very rewarding for one as a student, the acquired knowledge that one obtains. As you can see here, we are in the composting area. It is an area intended for the transformation of organic matter to obtain compost, which is organic fertilizer. Mainly here, the good thing about this is that it is like a reuse of waste. All the stubble produced from previous harvests is brought here to start a process of decomposition, and later, a month or so later, to reincorporate it back into the soil as organic matter. And this will help microbial reactivation, mainly moisture retention. I am quite surprised because in this module they are teaching us how to do it, but with the least amount of resources possible, that is, we are focused on the smaller producer, who is the one who uses it the most, and it is a very good alternative for those who do not have access to fertilizer. For example, because it can become very expensive, or the access to the farm that he has, this is a very important alternative. For example, in my house with my family, We have felt quite a lot with these climate changes, and with the absence of rains, longer droughts, and this produces an increase in production costs, which in the end is reduced as less income, right? This is a very important alternative because it generates a smaller amount of gases than nitrogen fertilizers. These gases that we have a greenhouse gas favor the greenhouse effect that produces global warming. Now what is affecting us? This also helps to retain humidity, which causes the frequency of irrigation to be lower, because the soil has a capacity to retain more humidity. My name is Jacobo Vasquez. I'm a Guatemalan national, graduated from Zamorano University in 2003. Today, one of the main problems is the issue of water, precisely because we need water for many of the activities we carry out on a daily basis, whether in agriculture or even in housing, for services to wash ourselves, to wash clothes. Therefore, it is of vital importance for us. Probably in previous years, we knew when it was the beginning of a rainy season and when we entered a dry season. However, today we are already having eventualities in terms of when it rains and when it does not rain. Therefore, we have to prepare ourselves with systems that allow us at any time that there is a precipitation event to capture it and to be able to store it and later make use of it. In the region, we have a rainfall regime that oscillates more or less between 1,000 to 1,200 millimeters per year. This is a harvest potential, that is, we are receiving between 1,000 to 1,000 liters of rain per square meter. In this case, the Eco House is designed with 2 water collection systems, which was designed by our 4th year students of Technological Innovation module, in order to bring the entire collection system to a geomembrane that stores 20,000 litres. The Eco House has 2 waterfalls. The Eco House has 2 waterfalls that must have the appropriate surface and slope to facilitate the sliding of rainwater towards the collection system. Once there is a rainfall, the water falls into the receiving channels that are located around the house. They move through a 3-inch pipe to finally reach the reservoir, where it will be sorted and used for domestic use. Has a sediment filter and a relief valve to control the pressure and its distribution. This system that manages to collect 20,000 litres of water, if we had 4 people and the norm tells us that one person spends 100 litres per day, we would have 400 litres per day available, and we have 20,000 litres that have been collected, so there will be enough for 50 days. During those 50 days, it favours us, because without these 50 days of a drought period, we have a precipitation event, and it allows us to recharge the whole system, and we could assure another 50 days more. This is really very beneficial for us, and very feasible in terms of seeing that water can be available for the family. In fact, these alternatives have been designed for communities that have been somewhat relegated, where they do not have a water system, a water distribution system, where they often have to go by a river to fetch water, to carry it long distances, when this could be an alternative to be able to maintain water. And another of the effects that we see as very important is also the issue of droughts. If they are being relegated because there is no water distribution system, on top of what we have a drought problem, then we are in a more serious problem. Why? Because water is an extremely important element for our daily activities. Then, at the moment of having a technology like this, we would be assuring a little bit of quality of life, because it is necessary for agricultural or housing activities. But the quality of water that I'm obtaining is a little better, different from the water that can come already contaminated, with sediments from a stream that I would have to go to collect when I can design a system like this in my house. We are going to harvest a lot. We are going to harvest. Here at the agroecological farm, they have taught me how to work with small producers, how you can teach us new techniques, and how to improve and not use so many agrochemicals. I feel great working here, surrounded by Zamorano students. The engineers, my bosses, have taught me excellent works, and I've been able to implement in my house, on my street, my small farm, my small plot of land, how to work and how I've been able to exercise the practices they have taught me here, how I've been able to implement them in my house. Hold here, that. The search for diversification, based on having a greater number of organisms in a productive area unit, where we look for very important benefits such as food security, food sovereignty, food safety, but also soil conservation, water conservation, biodiversity conservation, because biodiversity plays a very important role in the management of agriculture through the synergies that occur, such as pest control, soil conservation, water regulation. All these aspects are related to the greater number of synergies that occur within a production system. Here we are in the agroecology module. One of the practices is a mandala system, which teaches us how small producers can better manage their land and space and make better use of their water. The center of the system is a pool where there can be fish and the water is distributed around the first crop, preferably vegetables, because they are the ones that need more water. And then it is extended to crops such as grains that are needed for the economy of small producers and for their food. Let's go to the radish. Let's go to the radish. Tear off the radish slowly. Take out more. Here we are pulling radishes from a double dug bed, where we have only put organic fertilizer. If you look here, the soil is super loose, super improved. The soil here was super compact, but we have improved 100% the quality of the soil, that if we have a good product, there is no chemical fertilizer, only organic fertilizer. I have seen that some families, maybe 5 families, have already changed their minds. Maybe they are realizing that we are damaging the land, that we can improve it. In agriculture, we are always looking to improve, to continuously improve the things we do, and personally, I am passionate about this subject, so we are constantly looking for ways to adapt technologies, how to improve the quality of life, how we can produce more, how we can also be environmentally responsible with what we do in order to have a positive impact and not so much a negative impact. This module has been very nice because they teach us that it is not as we were taught before in school, that water was an inexhaustible resource. Now all that has changed. They teach us to produce the same, but always in an environmentally friendly way, always taking care of our resources, looking for the greatest possible sustainability. One of the aspects I'm most passionate about in agriculture is working together with producers and being able to involve all those aspects of ecological processes within productive systems. And that is what most attracts my attention about working in Honduras. That is, having an important space like the one Zamorano has in the agroecological farm to be able to carry out a diversity of experiments. a diversity of practices, together with the producers, together with the students, together with colleagues, that will lead us to have better productive systems is very important to me. The issue that most excites me about this whole production system and agroecology as a science is to be able to ensure food production at all times to producers. That is exciting, motivating at the same time, because we see that every time we practice agroecological production systems, we have less and less food insecurity, because they survive. They produce in times when it is difficult to produce that others do not produce. Then, basically ensure food to the people.